she danced upon the wooden boards of London's finest stages, her voice bright and clear, her steps graceful, captivating even the most jaded eyes. Moll Davis was not born into wealth or power, yet she stepped boldly into both, not through title or inheritance, but through performance, both theatrical and personal. Her story is not merely one of scandal, though there was plenty of that. It is one of ambition, wit, rivalry, and the unpredictable favour of a king. This is the life of Moll Davis, a woman who defied the expectations of her station, ascended into the heart of Charles II's glittering court, and ultimately paid the price that so often accompanies a life lived too brightly in the spotlight. In 1660, the English monarchy was restored after years of civil war and Puritan austerity. Charles II returned from exile to a jubilant London, a city eager to indulge in celebration, colour and art once more. Theatres reopened, music filled the air, and women were allowed to act on the English stage for the first time. This era, the Restoration, was marked by a flamboyant embrace of pleasure. The court of Charles II became a theatre in its own right, a performance of decadence and wit. Amid the swirl of powdered wigs and whispered affairs, entertainers and courtiers mingled freely. Beauty and charm were currency, and for a talented and daring woman like Moll Davis, this world offered rare opportunity and great risk. Charles, known for his sharp mind and sharper appetites, surrounded himself with a succession of mistresses. Some came from noble lineage, others, like Moll, emerged from the stage door, dressed in borrowed finery and cloaked in ambition. Mary Moll Davis began her ascent as an actress in the Duke's Company, one of the most prestigious troupes in London. She was admired not just for her musical ability and dance, but also for her striking presence and effortless charm. Samuel Pepys, the ever-curious diarist of the time, recorded his impressions of her, describing her as a pretty woman who sings and dances well. His tone suggests admiration, but also curiosity. But Moll was different. Her parentage remains a matter of speculation. Some sources suggest she was the illegitimate child of a dancing master. Others propose she was born into the theatrical world, raised among grease paint and rehearsals. Regardless of her beginnings, she learned early how to command attention. On stage, she was light-footed and magnetic. Off stage, she was calculating and self-possessed. Her roles tended toward the flirtatious and comic, maidservants with sharp tongues and bright eyes, the kind of parts that invited laughter and longing in equal measure. Her appeal lay in her ability to blur the lines between role and reality as a performer whose life was itself a kind of drama. Moll first drew the king's gaze around 1667. Her captivating court performances, coupled with her charismatic personality, played a crucial role in attracting Charles II's attention. Unlike other courtiers, Moll's ability to bring joy and light-heartedness to the king's often dreary court life resonated with him. Her choice to perform without excessive flattery made her stand out in a sea of sycophants. She was soon elevated to the status of royal mistress. As Moll rose to prominence, she encountered jealousy and hostility from other court members, particularly from Charles II's established mistresses and ambitious noblewomen. Some viewed her as an interloper who lacked the refinement of a traditional court lady, but Moll adeptly used her charm and wit to maintain her position, forming alliances and demonstrating her loyalty to the king during political upheavals. Moll did not return to the stage. She had played her greatest role and won. Yet not everyone celebrated her rise. Moll's decline in favour can be traced to several factors, including her outspoken nature. which alienated both rivals and some courtiers and the king's shifting affections as he became enamoured with new mistresses. Additionally, political changes and alliances at the court often dictated the king's preferences. And then of course there was Nell Gwyn, another actress, another royal mistress. If Moll was polished and poised, Nell was irreverent and razor sharp. The court was not big enough for both. Their rivalry is one of the most talked about dynamics of Charles's romantic life. Gossip swirled around them like smoke in a candlelit room. The most infamous story that Moll was sabotaged preparing to sing for the king at an intimate gathering. Her wine, it was said, had been laced with a laxative, an act widely attributed to Nell. Whether fact or fiction, the tale captures the court atmosphere, brutal, theatrical and quick to mock. And Moll's humiliation marked the beginning of her decline. In 1673, Moll gave birth to a daughter, Mary Tudor. Charles acknowledged the child, securing her a small but significant place within the aristocratic world. But Moll's place at court was no longer secure. Her lavish spending, open demands for attention and gifts, and fading novelty combined to push her out of favour. Charles, always chasing new diversions, turned his attention elsewhere. She left quarters quietly as she had once stepped into it. There was no public dismissal, no scandalous exit, just the closing of a door. Molly settled into a different life. She purchased a grand home in Soho Square and a rising enclave for the wealthy and refined. She raised her daughter with care and dignity, and when Mary married into the noble Radcliffe family, Moll's legacy passed into the peerage. Her grandson, James Radcliffe, would one day pay with his life for his loyalty to the Stuart cause, executed for his role in 1715 Jacobite rebellion. But by then Moll had long been gone, but her name lingered in scandal and story. Moll Davis was not the only mistress to Charles II, but she was among the few who came from the footlights, not the family tree. Barbara Palmer, the tempestuous Countess of Castlemaine, Louis de Carouaille, the elegant French favourite, all brought political weight. Moll brought talent. She played no game of nations, and she plotted no dynastic moves. She lived, loved and lost, all under the gaze of a restless court. So how do we remember her? As a fool, a climber, or as a woman who dared to make herself seen? Samuel Pepys' writings mentions her more than once. Court satirists ridiculed her, but all of them noticed her. In a time when most women were expected to remain silent and obedient, Moll Davis danced on stage, sang to royalty, and owned her space. Her voice may not echo in history's grand narratives, but in the footnotes and in the diaries, songs and scandals, she still sings. Moll Davis was no heroine, no villain. She was something rarer, a woman who took hold of her moment, shaped it, and then when the curtain fell, stepped back into shadow. Her story reminds us that history is not only made by kings, but also by those who made the kings laugh, sang in their halls, and danced while the world watched. Let me know what you think, and if you want more stories from the shadows of royal history, subscribe for more.